Good to see you all here. This is JoJo Bennington, and I am happy to have you all with us on this Friday afternoon-ish. And so our special guest, whose phone never stops ringing lately, is he's been getting pulled in 1,000 different directions and asked to do a ton of things. So we are very grateful that he's here to drop his knowledge with us. But for those of you guys who don't know him, he's an ISA Platinum. He was Man of the Year a couple of years ago in Isogenics. Didn't come into this with the thought that he would ever be doing this. Took him 4 years to see the opportunity side of this. And so has taken with this. And I think you guys are 15 years. 15 years? 14 years.
15 years.
Yeah. And so everybody say hi to Kyle Nekrash. He is up in Nanaimo, Canada. So British Columbia, if you know where that is, a little island off of Vancouver. So, there's not a whole lot of people there, but they've built a really successful business, him and his lovely wife, Megan, and they have 2 kids and live up on a beautiful lake there. And so say hi, Kyle, and then I'm going to tell him why we're all here.
Well, thank you for the intro. And yeah, we live on Vancouver Island in a city called Nanaimo. And, it's funny, we have Warren and Arlene Lance who live here, who are ISA millionaires, Sean and Kira Lynn Owen, Sarah and David Jilks, Megan and myself. So, people think, gosh, it must be so condensed, and really it's, gosh, you could probably walk past anybody on the street and ask them if they know what isogenics is, and you're probably going to get 50% saying yes, saying no. So don't ever think of where you live or how many people are there as a deterrent to what you can do for success.
Good point. Thank you for that. So true. A couple of, was it last week before last week, Kyle was a guest on our weekly team call, and everyone's happy you have a Boston Red Sox hat on. Can I just say that? Like I've seen like 3 messages go up in the chat already, because we have a whole Boston crew that are on, and so they're very happy that you were in your Boston hat. My husband, on the other hand, just came in and gave me the dirty look, so he's a Yankees fan. So anyway, Kyle was our guest, and he had talked about how he was doing 3-way calls and running through an assessment with people and helping to nail down like their goals and what they really wanted, and the verbiage that he's using behind that. And so I had so many people reach out to me and ask Kyle for his assessment. So I reached out and told Kyle that so many people had asked and that we would love to have him back on. So he graciously agreed to get back on with all of us and, talk about the importance of 3-way calls and sometimes how it's being a little bit of a lost art right now, and to get back to that. And also how to run us through how the assessment works. And so thank you, Kyle, so much for being so agreeable and helpful and always being so much fun. So.
My pleasure. And as far as the Boston hat goes, someone else might have to mute. Oh, there we go. As far as the Boston hat goes, my father turned 70 last year, and so he was in Boston he was in Lynn, but he was there for kindergarten and grade 1, and he had not been back since. So my grandfather had worked there. His older brother had gone to school there. So I thought, well, maybe for his 70th birthday, I'll take him there. And so we were there for a week, and it was truly magical. We did everything that you could imagine. I have a whole new respect. I mean, I love that place. I love Boston. I said to my wife, I can't wait to take you there. The history that we got to experience, from the oldest taverns to the oldest of everything, and knowing that half that city was once water, just it was really, really cool. But what was great is that so here's my dad, 70. I took him to a Xavier Rudd concert the first night. So he was like, what's up with this guy on bare feet on stage with a didgeridoo? And by the end, I was videoing my dad videoing him, because he was like, oh my gosh, this is the best. Then we did we went to the garden and we watched the Bruins. And then, of course, we had to take in a Red Sox game, which was truly amazing. So, yeah, this is, you know, my dad's got the same hat, same gear. That's where it all came from. And so that's where my love of Boston. It's just because I went there. So with that out of the way, yeah, we've been sort of, I think we alluded a little bit to some conversations last week. So I'm gonna try not to bounce around too much, but I want to give you guys a real clear understanding as to how we have been able to sort of shift mindset when it comes to discussing packs, making recommendations, and retention. The key thing I really want you to be thinking about, and you're going to hear me bring it up a lot today, is I really want you to think about retention. Bottom line, the name of the game here really is retention. The stuff that we have in front of it, the icing on the cake, like the bonuses and the front end stuff, those are all great to have. But at the end of the day, if the people are leaving your organization, then, you know, you guys, I referred last call a little bit between leveraged income and linear income. Well, if you're just relying on bonuses and you're not teaching bonuses plus the back end of the comp plan where the retention exists, where retention is what serves your paycheck, then there's a big missing link. So today is about being three-dimensional and really having focus in all different compartments and not leaning too far one way or the other, so that you guys can truly, you know, benefit at what we have to offer others when it comes to this profession of network marketing. So yeah, I see that PIB is great, but 6% is better. Exactly. John Myers, he's always smiling at me. I love it. He's in the top corner there. So he's my cheerleader because I can only see so many of you right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just screen share. Jojo, I have a little bit of a presentation that I did at our Canadian celebration here back at the beginning of the year in February. But before I go there, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we have been using a personal analysis. We used it a lot way back in the olden days. So 15 years, right? 4 years, finger at my nose. 5th, 6th, and 7th year, things really started to pick up. And I'll see if I can find it here. Yeah, I have it in my little archive section. So I wrote this in the back. We went to David Wood's very, very, very first Good to Great event in Kelowna. And on the way back, so this is in 2010, on the way back, I'm in the back of Sean and Carolyn's car with my big, fat, old, like laptops, and they're like this thick, Toshiba. And I wrote out this manual, but I want you to just check out the date on this bad boy. So August of 2010. And inside there, you're going to find information on checklists, personal analysis, enrollment questionnaire, all these things that we used to do that really catapulted our business in the beginning. And then we started to sort of shift in a different direction. No blame anywhere, just we shifted in a different direction. And we got away from, I would call them the basics, if you wish, the things that I think are so vital in today's society. And that really is connecting and getting to know someone and making sure that we are providing the absolute best experience possible. So as we roll into this, can I go into a screen share now? I'm going to try this and see if it works. All right, so you guys can see that it just says Isogenics. Jojo, you have to give me
We got you. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to switch over to this personal analysis. Did the screen change for you as well?
It did.
Okay, perfect. So this is a whole call on its own, how this little thing works, but I'm going to spend about 3 or 4 minutes on it before we get into the meat and potatoes of what today's about. So we utilize a personal analysis, and really what this has done for us is it's really been able to give us a snapshot into somebody's life. And what I mean by that is that I think often we take for granted that most of what we have to offer is sort of a cookie cutter approach. And it's so great to be able to get some insight to what people drink, what they eat, what their cravings are, what kind of allergies they got, you know, all these sorts of things. And so we utilize this personal analysis sheet to do it. And it's a fillable form. So, you know, you just click it and you just blah, 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 add in names, same thing wherever you click. So you can click it if they drink coffee, if it's regular or decaf, and what type they use. And so it's a very easy form to send out to somebody first. We go through and they tell us, you know, what they eat during a day, breakfast, morning, lunch, afternoon. Again, a lot of you might think, well, Kyle, crap, this is a lot of information. Like, seriously? And here's what I'd love for you to just venture over into. So how cool would it be to look into your organization and not see yellows and reds on top of people's names? And so people say, well, it's got to be fast, it's got to be duplicatable, and it's got to be quick. And what I have found is that the least amount of time that we spent at the front end ended up resulting in the least amount of retention in the long run. Something like this is super simple. You send it to the person, they fill it out, they send it back. I'd say maybe 10% don't do it. The remainder of the people do it. But because we email it to them and they fill it out and they email it back, we now have this as our baseline for the conversation we're going to have next, which is going into the three-way call. But what we've also used this for, Jojo, is we've also used it as a transition piece in the language when it comes to bridging that gap between, you know, offering isogenics. Often people say, I'm great at connecting, you know, I can create curiosity, but like, how do I now step over into closing the conversation? And I can only see Vicky and Denise and Jim, but has anybody ever, either themselves or people in their organization, having a hard time closing individuals or even approaching them in isogenics language? Well, I'm not sure, but we also were noticing that. Well, here's what's great about the personal analysis is that, I'll use Jojo because I can see her. We've connected. She sees something that I have that she wants, or I have something I've discussed with her without, you know, puking a whole bunch of information on top of her. And she's like, what is this? How does it work? How much does it cost? You know, those are all the typical questions you're going to get up front. And so what we've been doing is just saying, hey, listen, tell you what, Jojo, the best thing I can do for you now, why don't I send you over a personal analysis just to see if this program's a fit for you or not? Why don't I send you over a personal analysis just to see if this program is a fit for you or not? And I'm going to attach a video, which I know you guys all use. I'm going to attach a video as well as some of our scientific research. Fill it out as soon as possible. It's going to give me some clear ideas on how I can help you. So when you say to somebody, if this is a fit for you or not, first instinct is like, well, how do you know it's a fit for me? I know it's a fit for me, not you. And so we found that by sending this up front, people were filling it out because they wanted to get more information. They wanted to get their goals met. What we used to do is we used to enroll them and then send out the personal analysis, and hardly anybody was ever doing it. So how this is actually working great for us now is that it's that conversation bridge where you feel like, oh, I don't know what to say next. Hey, tell you what, you know what? Why don't I send you over a personal analysis just to see if the system's a fit for you or not? And if it is, it'll help me to customize something to fit your needs. So I just added some more verbiage into that for you. So again, depending on where you are in the conversation, why don't I send you over a personal analysis just to see if this system's a fit for you or not? And if it is, this is a great tool for me to customize something to fit your specific needs. And so we go through and we find out, this is something that I notice is very rarely ever asked, but finding out if they have allergies, how many times a week do they eat fast food, processed foods? Again, you're getting an idea about their habits so you can help to address cravings. You know, do you have cravings? Yes. What do you crave in the morning? Might be bread, PM, chocolate. Well, this is great because down the road, you now have something you can refer back to say, A, checking in on their cravings, and here's a solution for you, or you can present it to them right up at the front, depending on what you're leading with. Now, I used to have in the form, are you on prescription medications? If yes, what kind? That's none of our business and it's non-compliant. Are you currently under a doctor's care? Yes, what for? Again, I went through this with Dr. Anderson and we made it compliant. We had to get rid of those. However, this here is a very key area. We obviously, Isagenix doesn't diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any disease or illness, but we have a responsibility here. If they click yes to this and this, or one or the other, or vice versa, whatever way you want to look at it, our job is now to be able to educate them on what to say to their physician or their doctor. And here's what it sounds like. They don't go in and hold up something like this and say, hey, can I do this, doc? Because the doctor has a legal obligation. This has nothing to do with doctors not understanding nutrition or doctors not understanding Isagenix or any of the things that people get all rattled about. What this has to do is it has to do with their obligation to make sure that they're on point with what it is that they're prescribing or agreeing with when it comes to their patient. Most doctors have never heard of Isagenix, let alone understand what it does, so they can't agree to it. However, if I walk in and JoJo's my Nurse Bunny, right? And I say, Nurse Bunny, I am going to be changing my diet over the next 30 to 90 days. Can you monitor me? Well, what does your diet include? Well, I'm going to change my nutrition. There might be some intermittent fasting inside there, don't know. But either way, it's going to be important that you monitor me. Can you do this? By law, they cannot say no because you're asking them to monitor you. I could even go in there tomorrow and say to my doctor, hey, doc, listen, I'm feeling kind of skinny lately. I'm going to do some steroids. Can you monitor me? Now, of course, the doctor is going to give me all the reasons why not to do it and what it's going to do to my body, because that means he's or she is a good doctor. However, they're still going to have to monitor me, even though they know it's bad. So not insinuating that this is bad, but again, it's just language, people. That's all it is language. So the form continues on, and we find out how many bowel movements do they have per day or per week. This is, I mean, people they go, oh, I get so comfortable asking that question. Oh, stop it. When I'm doing a three-way call and someone describes to me that they're having struggles with their digestion, I'll just say, you're going to fit in one of four categories. You'll have one bowel movement a day, 2, 3, or 0. Which one of those numbers fits you? Oh, I'm regular. I go, okay, cool. What does that mean? Well, I go every morning. I said, so once a day? Yes, absolutely. Do you know that you're clinically constipated? And that may be contributing to some of the things that are happening to you right now and you not being able to achieve your goals. And so I go into this explanation about how, you got your 3 meals, and as the third one comes in, the first one's pushed out, and as the first one comes in, yada, yada, yada. How many other nutritional programs or diets have you tried before? Well, it's going to give you some insight on how this is different from what they've done, so you can get tips on how you're going to support them. Have you tried cleansing before? Yes, I did the rose hip. What nutritional supplements do you currently take? Well, vitamin C, D. So these are things that allow me to bridge conversations to the products that we have on top of the normal packs that you're used to referring for. So this doesn't really matter if you are, you lead with a 30-day, you lead with an ultimate pack, you lead with the forever pack. It doesn't matter. This is all intel. These are things that are coming into you so that at a later date or at the time of enrollment, you now can offer them a solution to lower their costs from some of the things that they're already spending on. So do you exercise? We go through their health, energy, stress, where they would like it to be. They add a goal if they want it. We find out how willingness they are to be coached. So if I have someone that's here or here, then I'm going to be like, what has you choose a low? Just so I can get some understanding, because for us, it's always important to meet people where they're at, but also out of respect for ourselves, we also don't want to be up here while someone's down here feeling like we're dragging this ship through dead water, right? So if they are persistent at staying low and, they don't really put much intel here, then I can drop down a little bit. And I'm not going to get frustrated, because guess what? They told me, I told them, we know what to expect of each other. No one's going to be upset. But I do try to move people to a high by asking them the questions. So, are you committed to staying with your cleanse coach? No. Now, again, you can change the language, right? everything's irrelevant at this point. It's this stuff here that's most important. Because when I find out what you're eating, what you're drinking, what you're doing, then it's going to allow me, when a roadblock comes and you want to quit, I go back to the personal analysis. So I'm going to give you the three most common, or 2 or 3 most common things. So I call these rescue 3 ways. We have a lot of them, but now not so much, because people already know the same answer that comes up every time, that it's starting to spread first PET, second, third, and fourth. And I'm not having to do so many rescue calls anymore. But what happens is that when you see somebody that doesn't eat that much breakfast, they might have a little snack, a very small lunch, but a big dinner. And they're typically females, okay? Not pointing fingers anywhere. But what starts to happen is that when you start to consume a shake that's very, as Lenny would say, dense in nutrition, or dense in calories, or pardon me, dense in nutrition but low in calories, versus high calories and low nutrition, what'll happen is that you have a muscle mass that's going to start to regenerate, which is going to tip the scale faster than she's looking to release weight. She's wondering, why is this not happening? And so I have a conversation piece now. I can refer to this personal analysis and say, well, your body, for so long, you're actually teaching it to protect itself and hold the weight, and you're using your muscle mass as an energy source. So as your muscle mass is being replenished, and I can show her the study that there's a 9% average increase on people who were in the 6-month study, and none of them did exercise, right? We always have backing for everything. Trust that. So when I show her this, I can say, this is what's happening for you. And I would suggest to them to, ditch their scale for a period of time, so on and so forth. So again, if I look at how I roll this out, you're connecting with somebody. I send them a personal analysis with a video, what have you. They send me back the PA. So whether I'm doing a 3-way call or not, so if I'm doing a 3-way call for JoJo and she sent this out, I now have a whole snapshot of this person, and I have a way different language I can use versus, hey, how are you doing? And going through the typical protocol. For us, this has been a game changer. So again, I don't want to spend a heap of time on this. So I'm going to go over to here. Can you guys see this? Okay, awesome. So I know that you guys know that we're talking about the 3-way call today, but I want you to think about the people inside your organization, because there's a technique that's rarely spoken of, rarely taught. It's rarely role played, but I feel it's such a fundamental when it comes to growing this business. And really, it's the fastest tool we have for duplication. When you think of top leaders like Jimmy Smith or Lynn Hagedorn or whoever, and they're like, their entire business started off doing this little tool we're going to talk about today. So, but let me just ask you this first for you guys. If you were able to have like all these little processes on one piece of paper, so a process for enrollment, a process for duplication, and a process for retention, would that be cool? Awesome. So when you look at this form, imagine if you had a means to extract more goals. And so when you think of more goals, you're like, why? Well, more goals allows you to customize. More goals allows you to enhance the BV out of the gates. And more goals allows you to know that you are recommending the right pack. So this is going to help you with retention. But I also want you to consider that, what if you can completely dismiss the auto ship objection or the lifestyle rewards objection? Because how many people have issues with people are like, I don't want this every month, or I don't want to be stuck on anything. I don't want to blah, blah, blah. So would it be an asset if you had the associate themselves pre-pave how long they feel it would take to get the results you're looking for? So that means that they've laid out in front of you themselves from their mouth how long they're willing to be on this program. Would that be cool? Yep, cool, awesome. And what if you had on this piece of paper an ability to really anchor your associate to a why? And I'm talking something that they probably didn't even walk into your conversation with until this form. And a why, because when somebody has a stronger purpose other than their quick fix sort of vanity thing, then there's a greater reason for them to stay engaged, and there's greater reason for them to have results. And of course, this spells better retention. And the last thing is I really want you to think about the builder in your team or even yourself that might be afraid because of price objections. Does anybody get price objections? Well, what if we could remove that as well on this form, where instead of you assuming what you think they can afford, they actually tell you up front exactly what they want to spend, so you can now go, oh, well, actually, this is great. The number you just gave me is double the one that I was recommending you a pack for. And you go back to the PA and you can start to now talk to them about some of the other solutions we have. So back to the most powerful tool in network marketing. Yes, I know, three-way call. So I'm looking for a little bit of transparency here, and I know that you guys can't answer, but I want you to just think this. You know, how many of you could really dive into your fourth PET and be able to say they know exactly what to do and what to say when it comes to enrolling somebody or doing a three-way call? I'm going to quickly just look in the chats. Is there anybody writing anything?
You know, there might be somebody who doesn't know what a fourth PET is.
Yeah, all right. So, because I can see these gals on the screen, I enroll JoJo. She's my first PET. JoJo enrolls Kathy. She's my second PET. Kathy enrolls Vicky. She's my third PET. And Vicky enrolls Brian. He's my fourth PET. So they're part of my organization. Of course, we have many PETs, but all I'm doing is that when you think of all of the components that help us to earn income, be it the bonuses to all these sorts of things, they are all within calculations of our 4 PET. So you know that you have a strong organization when your 4 PET is speaking the speak, talking the talk, singing the song, and they're part of the choir. I guess that's a crappy analogy, but I really want you to understand that. So if you go down to that 4th level, do you think that there's people in your organization that are completely confident, know what to do, know what to say, and they know how to enroll somebody, be it a three-way call or not? And so I know I can't see any of you, but I was amazed. I was in front of, I don't even remember how many people were at Canada Celebration, a couple thousand. And there was like 2 or 3 people that put their hand up. And I was like, whew. So I said, okay, how about like your second PET? That means that like your consultants people. So I enrolled JoJo. She enrolls Kathy and Vicky to become a consultant. Kathy and Vicky are my second PET. Do you think they know of the people who want to do the business? Now remember, 80 to 85% of the people don't want to do the business. The other 15 to 20 do. So the people who do you think they're clear on what to do next? And then I finally said, how about any of you personally? Do you have clarity that you can sit there, do something and go here and just pass it down? So that's what today's conversation is going to be about. So, but I want to ask you this. Can anyone guess why the three-way call is kind of slipped off the wayside and it's not really anything that's used, taught, or any guesses? There's one word that I think stops people from doing three-way calls. Trust. They don't trust what you're going to say. They don't trust what you might do. They don't trust any of the language that may occur. And so, again, when it comes to the enrollment, retention, duplication, all of our three-way calls that we do, we use the exact same form, the same questions, so that we can pair up a teacher with a teacher. We can pair up a pilot with a pilot. We can pair up anybody to do three-way calls much easier. And think of the leaders who are bombarded with three-way calls. I have so much cool stories. I'll share them in a bit. But so we knew we had to create something, and that's why we created this piece of paper, which we're going to share with you. So I just want to quickly go over this form. And I want you to know that, remember, on a three-way call, the front side of it, you're introducing just like what JoJo did. She introduces me. She would edify me. She would also edify the new person. There'd be some relationship building. It's not like you just get on the phone and ask these questions. I'm sure you guys get that that's not the case, right? All right, so let's get going. So the first set of questions up top is we really dive into the goals, but we don't settle for anything less than 5. And here's why, because when you're asking these questions and you're digging deeper, you start to develop another level of trust because you're engaged. You're asking that person questions. You're trying to get to know them more. And so with that, as they're giving you different goals they have, what else is cool here is that you now can give examples of people that you know of or have heard of that have achieved those exact goals that they're looking for, giving them a little bit more incentive to go, oh, I really need to do this program, or I really want to try it. But when you obtain more than 1 or 2 goals, remember we're at the personal analysis I told you about the woman who was frustrated that, the scale wasn't moving. So when you get to pull out goals like energy and sleep and digestion and mental clarity and performance or recovery, and there's also weight loss in there, when the weight loss doesn't show up, you now have a conversation piece to let them know that the program is still working, but you can refer back to that personal analysis to give them a reason why the scale's not moving as fast. Make sense? So these basically also, if you think about it, they allow you a space to also celebrate. Because every time that they get one of these goals, it's like, yay, on Facebook or whatever medium you use, yay, chick, you're checking off the list. And what's cool is that, let's say somebody does get all their goals in their first 30 days. Well, now you have the conversation to go, how long do you want to keep them? Right? And you get to move into nutrition for life versus the quick fix 30 day. Because 30 days implements what? 30 days, right? So anyway, that's why we want to get the 5 goals. So hopefully that makes sense. I talked to you guys about the lifestyle objections. So, or lifestyle rewards. This is how we deal with it. So I'll read their 5 goals to them and I'll say, how many months or years has it been that you've wanted to achieve these goals? And they'd be like, I don't know, man, like years. Like, well, what do you think? Like 1, 2, 3, 5. I'll write that down. Or let's go opposite. Let's pretend they said, I've wanted these goals for the last 6 months. Then I'll say to them, how long do you believe it will take to achieve all of these goals? And so that's when they plant their very first subliminal message of how long they think it's going to take. So this is, I would say, at least 9 times out of 10, we're going to get the answer 6 months. And it's not on this form, but this is where when they put down 6 months, because think of this. So I'm doing this 3-way for JoJo. So I have the form in front of me. I'm writing it down. But at home, JoJo is the girl who did the introductions. And I'm talking to Kathy. While I'm asking the questions, you know what JoJo's doing? She's typing in the answers. So she can type. So she's part of the 3-way. She's engaged versus finger up her nose, listening, or putting it on mute and doing the dishes, right? So she's now part of this process because that's the fastest way that we're going to teach JoJo how to duplicate. So when they say 6 months, I'll say, because you guys know it's possible, right? We've seen it over and over again. So I may say, would it get you excited if we nailed your goals in half that time? They're like, absolutely. And I'll say, can I ask you this? Once you achieve these goals, are they something you want to keep or you just want to go back to your old habits? Again, the next level of talking about nutrition for life. Isogenics is nutrition for life. If people had a strong enough belief in every single one of the products that they consumed, you would never see red in your back office, ever. Because even if they stuck with 1 canister of shake and a bottle of Ionics or their isogenesis, you're not going to see any red or yellow because people know that this is important for their lifestyle. So that's how we deal with lifestyle rewards. Hopefully that makes sense because now they've just projected to you how long they think it will take. So if they ever did get Bucky after 30 days, you can go back to this form and say, hey, listen, look at how much you've done so far. You knew it would take 6 months, and I'm still committed to make it happen in half that time. What, and then you carry on your conversation of how they're going to continue. All right. I talked to you about discovering a why, and you're thinking, how do you do that? So if you think about it, people that I remember in the past that we would enroll, again, as soon as they get their result, they're out. And so this is way back in the olden days. So now we ask these questions like, once you've achieved your goals, how do you see things changing in your life? But here's something key. I want you to write this down if you are taking notes. You want to pre-pave their 5 goals as being complete. So I would go back to Joe, or to Kathy, actually. We're doing the 3-way for Kathy. And I say, Kathy, girl, I want you to imagine 3 months down the road, you've dropped those pesky 5 pounds. Your energy's through the roof. You're sleeping through the night and waking well rested. Your mental clarity is back on par the way it used to be 5 years ago. And you're feeling friskier than a newborn filly. Let me ask you this. What things change in your life once you've achieved these goals? So you want to pre-pave that. You want to pre-paint it as if it's happened. And she's going to be like, oh man, yeah, I'm just going to feel different about myself. I'm going to want to go out more. I'm going to want to put on my skinny jeans. I'm going to want to, like, you're going to hear all these things. Write them down. But here is the one that I think is most valuable. I say, that's so awesome, Kathy. Let me ask you this. Who else in your life do these positive changes end up affecting? And she's like, man, if I'm feeling better and I know I'm looking better, man, my husband, my kids, my coworkers, and let's flip it. It doesn't have to be women. Could be my wife, could be my kids, could be whatever it may be. Now there is a much bigger reason for that cardboard box showing up on their doorstep other than them getting their quick vanity fix. There's a bigger purpose because you spent the time to ask the questions. Are you guys picking up what I'm throwing down? All right. So, yeah, I just think that the program no longer becomes about them. There's a bigger reason for them to engage and complete and get onto these goals where you, through time, get to have conversations about how Isogenics is nutrition for life, because this is how they got to where they are. And they told you they did not want to go back. So I talked to you a little bit about cost. Here's how we, and sorry for the CA, the Canadian, so you're just going to put US. Did the presentation at Canada Celebration. I always read this. That's why I put it in bold, and I'll show you the actual form afterwards. But I always say, hey, listen, Kathy, it's not our goal to break your budget here, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to find a fit that you're comfortable with so that moving forward, you can achieve all your goals and perhaps save some money. Let me ask you this. So it's not on there, but you want to write this down. Everything that I just said, and perhaps save you some money. So this may or may not be applicable for you guys because of whatever packs you may be choosing to build with right now, but it's a great practice because wouldn't it be cool if you can do a forever pack and add vitamins because the personal analysis said that they were already taking them and they told you how much they were spending on them? Or you can do the forever pack, add vitamins, and also add chocolate because one of their cravings was chocolate, but now you have a chocolate source to give them. So all you're doing is you are being of service to the things that people are already spending money on. But by asking these questions, we ask them, and the wording here is they made a mistake on it. What would be your current monthly budget for a nutritious breakfast and lunch daily? On average, people, we're usually getting the absolute bare bones, $5 to $7. That's like the low end. The middle end is 10 to 12. The high end is 15 to 20 plus, right? Percentage wise, not even 10% are on the low end. The majority are in the middle and the rest are at the high end. And so what's really great is that I can take, let's take the average, which is the $10 one. We times it by 30. I now write in that line right here, I write $300. Then I ask them, do you go to Starbucks, Timmy's? I know you guys got Dunkin' Donuts and all that kind of stuff down there. On average, per week, what do you spend? Or per day, or whatever it may be. You do your calculations for the month, you write in the total. Then again, I'll say, I know in your personal analysis, you mentioned that you purchase vitamins. What do those cost you in a month? You write down the number. Now you have your total per month right here. Remember, $300 there, even if it's $2 a day because they don't do any fancy drinks, you're still looking at 60 bucks, right? And then you have your supplements, you're going to be running close to $400 here. But we ask this next question. And I'll say, hey, listen, Kathy, you know, to achieve your health goals, I want you to consider this. What would you be willing to invest in yourself to make this happen, knowing that if we were to hire a personal trainer for you, I think they roughly are around $60 an hour. I think they're probably more than that now. But at 4 or 5 weeks in a month, you're looking anywhere from $240 to $300 a month. If we just think of your first month only, they took that out, but it's in my form that I'm going to give you. Your initial investment for your first month, what would you be willing to invest in yourself, knowing you're already spending your $400 and you're not getting the goals that you're looking for? What would you be willing to spend? So now you're adding this. It could be $100, it could be $200. So then all I say to them, I say, all right, so currently right now you're at $400 that you're spending. We have $200 that you're willing to invest. That's a total of $600. Do you agree? They're like, yeah. What can you recommend with $600? Because they told you what they want to spend. See, that's the part I want you to capture here. They told you what they wanted to spend. You're not guessing it. You're not following a cookie cutter. They're saying, these are my goals. You got my personal analysis. This is what I'm willing to spend. Well, let's get the show on the road because I'm trusting you. That's why I'm having this conversation. So, make sense? All right. On the form, buyer's remorse is a big thing. Let's just pretend they got a forever pack with the vitamins, some e-shots, and chocolates. And they got extra shake because they want to have more shake. So they're roughly close to that $500 mark, right? And so they're excited because you went through their why, you got their goals, and then they just, sat there for 2 seconds and they're like going, holy shit, what am I doing? This is so important, and I put it in red on the form. Remind them that this cost is only for their first month. And not every month is tips and typical subsequent orders are 25 to 50% less. Let's use this example. For instance, I know that with the Forever Pack, it's the same pack every month, which is awesome. But when people start with a 30-day or premium or a value, do they repeat that every month? Yes, sometimes the 30-day, if their weight loss is not there yet. But it's typically you're not repeating a value pack over and over again. And I think this is where we have fallen short with that pack, is that we sell it, yay, got some PIBs, happy, but we didn't tell them because they just went home and they're thinking, holy shit, this is $600-700 a month. I can't do this. I'll do it this time because I committed, but I can't do this every month. So they've already self-checked out. Our job is to address the buyer's remorse right away, letting them know, hey, this is not your typical monthly expenditure. It's going to be anywhere from 25 to 50% less. Now, if you just went with the basic pack and they said, I just want 4 shakes, you don't have to read this statement. You don't have to, because 4 shakes, they are going to understand the value of that pretty soon. So does that make sense? Okay. Showing the money. Now, this is something that I've watched so many people get. There's this kind of like an interrupt that occurs. They think, okay, when they get results, I'm going to talk to them because it'll be easier then because they will have some positive affirmations. So I don't want to say anything right now. So that's why, again, language is always so important. And so we always say to people, it's so crucial that you PDR this, practice, drill, rehearse. Like your homework, believe it or not, is to set yourself up in little triads where you rotate. Jojo's the expert once, Kathy is going to be the new person, and Vicky's going to be the sponsor. Then they switch. Vicky is going to be the professional, blah, blah, blah. And so that you can see it, hear it, feel it, taste it, absorb it, make it your own before taking it out for a test drive and go, oh, I can't do this. It's too complex. Any profession that you can think of, with the exception of network marketing for some reason, you have to practice. You have to. I should show you when I went to college, like the flashcards, stacks of flashcards. So anyway, we say here, I would also love to show you how to spend less on future orders through the company's referral program. Are you open to me explaining how the referral program works? If they say no, guess what? They said no. If they said yes, guess what? They said yes. If they said yes, go ahead and share it. If they said no, it doesn't matter. All you said is that show you how to spend less money on future orders through the company's referral. It's very gentle for you to say, and it's very gentle for them to perceive. Do you catch what I'm throwing down there? So that's that. If they said yes, choose whatever pack you want, doesn't matter. All right, buyer's remorse number 2. So Kathy has given all of her information, sent off her $500 to Jojo. She now is driving home. And her husband, how was your day? Oh, it's really good. I'm so excited. I'm starting a new nutrition program. Really? How much did that cost? It was like, I don't know, $600. What? That's 2 car payments. Are you out of your skull? This is what people are getting when they go home, and we're not prepping them for it, right? We're not prepping them for it. So what you want to make sure that you do is you always have a call. So in US, you guys ship immediately, right? In Canada, we get it 2 or 3 days later. So in US, you have 24 hours to do this next call. Canada, we have 24 to 48 hours to do this next call. And we actually do another call where I would call up Kathy, and it doesn't have to be 3-way. Jojo would call up Kathy and just, again, congratulate her on what she's done, rereading to her her goals, reaffirming that this is just her first month's expense. We're going to customize it afterwards, letting her know that she has full support the entire way down the road. And if nothing ever happens and nothing works, well, you have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So to reaffirm to her, because remember, she's got the artillery in the background. Ding, 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 ding. And so that's why you want to do this. But what we do is you want to reread what they told you. Again, you're anchoring them, reminding them why, and then this is what's going to help with your retention. So what we do is we actually create a support team for them. And guys, Messenger seems to be the easiest thing. I remember I did this call for a bunch of young Aussies. You might know Morgan Nelson and Cameron Byfor. This was 2 years ago, and I'm doing this call, explaining the system, and I talked about an email and CCing it to you. And so in the chat box, you're like, what does CC mean? And I was like, holy crap. Like, they don't even know what email is. So we have geared this toward Messenger, so it sort of fits for everybody. But with Kathy, during this call, Jojo says to her, hey, listen, you know, who in your family do you know would love to see you hit these goals? And so she tells her who would love, and say, we want to have people in your life that they're the high fivers. They're the ones that are going to pick you up when you're down. They're the ones that are going to celebrate your success when it happens. So who in your family would love to see you hit these goals? Then you go through which one of your friends would love to see you hit these goals. So she gives the names. We make sure we write them down. Coworkers, community, church, gym, doesn't matter. Okay? But what ends up happening is that you get this little list of about 8 to 12 names. And this is another call, another form. We only have 4 forms in our whole organization. The personal analysis, the enrollment questionnaire, which we're giving you now. The second one to create the support team. And then just a checklist to make sure you don't screw up. That's it. Because most people aren't instructed on how to support somebody their first 30 days. So that's why we give you a little checklist. So again, you can look at this and go, that's a lot too complex, but I would love to see how many red lines are in your organization as you're saying this to me. We want to flip that pancake for you. So you get their 8 to 12 names, and this is what starts to happen is inside this group, you get this conversation. So I would be, or Jojo would be Kathy's coach, right? And she starts saying, man, ever since I started taking these shakes, this is what I'm feeling, this is what's going on. And Jojo's just affirming some of the ingredients that are in there, some of the stuff, why it is that she's feeling this, yeah, keep up with your water, keep up, all the stuff that you should do, and you're just doing it on Messenger. And the next day, you know what? I've been taking this isogenesis stuff, and this is what I'm noticing. Hey, way to go, this is so good. And she's just there. She's not doing anything that's too fantastic. But the 8 observers are like, okay, so she's got someone in here helping her, and she's getting the, Kathy, what are you doing? And because Jojo is in part of this group, instead of Kathy saying, I just changed my diet, which is the common answer because people don't want to say, Jojo gets to be inside that group where she can politely, softly answer the question. And what do you think we do from there? Well, we hit that little reset button. Tell you what, Vicki, why don't we just send you over a personal analysis like I did Kathy, just to see if this is even a fit for you or not. And if it is, it'll help us to customize something to fit your goals because they may be different than Kathy's. We'll attach a video with a little bit of documents, try to get it filled out to us as soon as possible. Did I say you share, they share? Did I talk about getting your products paid for? What's happening is why do we call it network marketing? Because there's a network of people watching this person's results. We've now are inside Kathy's Rolodex so that we can create the same positive change for someone else in her life. Because there's 3 aha moments, and this is off this form, this is something else. There's 3 aha moments that truly occur in this profession. Aha moment number 1 is that Kathy actually goes, oh, it's working. I didn't think it would, it's working. Aha moment number 1. Aha moment number 2. Jojo says, hey, your buddy Vicki that was, asking in the group what you're up to. Well, we kind of helped her out a little bit. And so she started on the same system that you started on. And it turns out Brian in the group reached out as well. As a result, your isogenics are usually a week in arrears, but you're probably going to notice an email that says that you're going to get a little bit of a kickback. It'll be about $150 to $200. I hope you're okay with that. Kathy's like, right, $200, whatever. She doesn't believe you because she didn't do anything, right? People associate money with doing something to get it. But because the group, that's what she did. She created this group. The group, what creates consultants? Curiosity. So all of a sudden, this check shows up. And Kathy's like, Jojo, they send me, it says $200 right here. And it says it's in some wallet thing. Like, what do I do? What is this? And Jojo's like, well, and she gives her whatever Jojo's spiel is. That's called aha moment number 2. Oh, that's interesting. I still don't want to do the business, but that's interesting. And now, whether it be more people that are curious inside our group, because Kathy had that little taste, we're still not plowing you share, they share on her yet. We're not plowing the comp plan on her yet. We're not bearing her like a snowplow, because when do you give somebody information? When they ask for it. So Kathy is like a month in, and she's like, hey, Jojo, I know that like we got that $200 before, and you're right, it actually did help me cover my next month's shipment, but hey, listen, if we did that again, can I get that same $200? And Jojo's like, well, let me just show you this, how it worked. Now you have a different, now been cracked, because she's sitting there going, all right, she's doing her own math, but I didn't tell you about aha number 3 yet. This is the most powerful one. It's what keeps me in this business. It's what I love to see and feel and hear messages back. Vicki calls up Kathy and she says, Kathy, girl, thank you so much. for letting me be part of your journey in your group, but I have never felt like this before. And if you hadn't have told me, I wouldn't have even known. Thank you so much. Brian does the same thing to Kathy. And then Kathy sits there and she's like, shit, I don't get that at work. And this small little percolation starts because her first aha, she didn't believe the products were working, they did. Second aha, yeah, right, I'm gonna get paid from this. Third aha, someone gives her gratitude, something that doesn't happen on a daily basis in any profession, except for this one. Now Kathy is slowly starting to care. Her blinders are even opening more because JoJo's fostering was the key word, fostering this relationship. And now JoJo says, well, Kathy, you know what? We're actually having a super Saturday down here at the whatever. And she invites her to come. And all of a sudden, Kathy learns about the products in deeper detail. She starts to learn about what other people are doing. And she's like, I can still do this. Versus at the very beginning, we plow them with snow. They can't even get up for air. And I don't want to sound negative on this. Yes, there are people at the beginning who want to do the business. And we're there to offer it. But those ones have come to you and said, I want to do this. And we have a whole system for them. We got isogenicsbusiness.com. I mean, we're taking care of for those people. I'm talking about fostering the 85% who've said no. That's what this is about. So this is what the form looks like. Again, the top part is what we do to customize it. This is how we take care of the lifestyle rewards, finding their why, objections, showing the money, blah, blah, blah. Here is what it looks like on its own. So again, it's fillable. You can print it. You go through, same thing, you just add in the answers. So I print off a form, but JoJo would be typing them. There's no Canadian on this, so it's good for you, right? It's multi. It's in red, remember, most important. Then away you go. And also, if you type stuff inside here, you hit clear form, it just erases it. All right. So I'll go back to gallery view. That was a lot. And hopefully some of that made sense. And you might find some value with it. But the bottom line, people, is that you have to practice this. You gotta, the number one thing, you should all pretend that you're re-enrolling each other. So that means that you're calling up the people that are on this that you've already enrolled, and you're resending them a personal analysis with a video and some information. You're re-enrolling them with the enrollment questionnaire. And you're recreating a support team that was never done in the first place. You all now have the opportunity. We did this with a team in Australia. They were millionaires, right? And everybody has our ebbs and flows with the business. And what she did is she created a support team and had Carrie Lynn from here be her coach. And out of I think she had either 9 or 10 people in there, all but one enrolled. And she created a consultant. And it wasn't because she was pushing the business. It's because she invited people into her circle. Here's my circle. Here's my goals. Here's what I'm struggling with. Here's what I want to do. And we give you language for how to invite people. Here's what I want to do. So these people are in there going, all right, we're just here to high five you. And she says, even if you don't want to do this, can you just have my back for 30 days? Just be part of this group, have my back. And so these people are watching Sarah's journey, right? And all of a sudden, it's just the natural course. The curiosity started, and people are like, oh my gosh, girl, like, way to go. And there's this whole energy, and Carrie Lynn's helping to cultivate it. And so is it going to work for everybody? No, because most people aren't going to believe in it. But anything that happens, like the aha moments, let me ask you this. You know what I said to Warren when he first talked about the products? Man, I gave that guy gears that you couldn't even imagine. Like, I was mean. But when he talked about I said, don't ever talk to me about the business. What did Warren say when he got his phone call? I don't want to do another business. I enrolled Sean and Carrie Lynn. Sean and Carrie Lynn, the first thing they said to me, don't ever talk to me about the business. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Sarah and David, our neighbors up the street who Sean and Carrie Lynn enrolled, they wouldn't even let us in their house for op meetings because they were only product op meetings. We couldn't talk about the business. They enrolled Jen and John O'Patch in Australia. who are the leading income earners in all of Australia. Guess what they said? We have a lot of businesses. I've got 4 or 5 of them. We don't need another one. But because there was an aha moment created at each junction, all of them are millionaires in the company. In fact, your precursor to doing business with somebody should be 3 things. 1, they tell you they don't want to do business. You're like, yes, that person is on my crystal executive map. The second thing, they have done some form of personal growth. That means that they've taken a course. They've done something outside of isogenics. That means that they're investing in themselves. So in your getting to know them, if they have that, bang, that's another yes. You stick it inside there. And the third thing is that they, I had this written down somewhere. I've talked too much already today. Personal development, say no to the business, and oh crap, we have to come back on it. But those are the people who are all successful in our organizations, all of us, over and over and over and over again. So really quick to ground this lesson, I know we're a little bit over time. Hopefully we gave you good value. What would be your share, your takeaway, your own aha moment, so we can close this up for you guys for this afternoon? You can open up the lines if you want.
I know there was definitely some questions. So we could do those first if you want, or we could do some takeaways, or we could do both.
Yeah, either or.
Hey, Crystal, I saw you. You were the last question I saw pop up. Why don't you unmute and ask
Hey,
a question?
hey, Kyle. I don't know if you can see me. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
This was amazing. I'm like, I can't wait to just try it. Let's see, aha moment. It's just all about, it's just people making their own decisions. It kind of takes me out of it, which is really awesome. That's awesome.
Freedom.
And it's duplicatable. So my first question is, when do you have people become an associate? Because if they're going to just randomly get this money back, right, they have to be an associate.
Then.
When
you know what? It's so. Oh, this is. I'll tell you that I don't like this question, and here's why. Because people will say, well, if you don't convert them to associate, then all the accumulation of BV doesn't go there. And I go, well, if I convert them too early, then there's no bonuses along the way. Like there's no, like, if there's like the, it's kind of like a dictionary on how to, I don't know, live life properly or something, or how to understand my wife. Maybe that would be a good dictionary. Right? And that's funny. I'm just joking. I love my wife. But what I'm saying is there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It's just, but if what you do want to do is if they get a referral in the group, you definitely convert them to associate, because then they won't get they would just get product coupons, which would still be cool. But something about the money showing up on an email has them go, oh, that was cool. So,
okay. Yeah. Cool. And then, so when you have them start this messenger group of their supportive friends, are they the ones that put a message in kind of welcoming everybody saying, please support me? It's not the mentor, it's the person.
I give you the language, say this is how you invite the people, and then this is how you do your introduction. And then JoJo comes in and she has you, so you're not going to know this. You're going to know this for your support group right now, but the new person won't know this. And JoJo is basically going to she's going to engage her probably every day for the first week, then every second day after that, and accordingly as you spread it out. But you want lots of engagement at the beginning.
Okay.
And so far what we're hearing, I have another group that's going on in Fort McMurray. I in fact got booted as a coach because these women all of a sudden just made this like beautiful little tribe. And I said, this isn't the space for me. I said, invite Meg, get my wife in here. I says, because you guys got a beautiful thing going on right now. And I'm not saying that I could cause a disrupt, but just in case, let's keep it the way it is and keep it with just the girls. So it's been fun. And like I said, not everybody's going to do this. Would it be great if everybody did? Yeah. Would it be awesome if everybody did 3-way calls? Yeah. So these are just tools that you have in your backpack that if you implement, the worst thing that's going to happen to you is you're going to have better retention over time. But here's the bottom line I want you to walk away with. If I'm in my business, if I can't go, here, this is all I did. I don't know how to do a 3-way call. Here, these are the only questions I asked. Let's practice. How do you find out about people? You seem to know a lot. Here's a personal analysis. Let's practice. I had a girl named Carly on the island. I did 10 three-way calls for her with that form. 8 people enrolled. 1 said no. The other one was undecided. One of the people that enrolled had someone that wanted to do the program as well. Carly phoned me. She goes, can you do this three-way call? And I said, no, I can't. She's like, well, why not? I said, because if I do this for you, I now have stopped the duplication process. And the name of this game is duplication. However, if you notice, I pulled up on my screen, I said, these are the only questions I've asked every single time. I said, do you notice that? She goes, yeah. I says, why don't we practice this? And then you get to ask these questions through your friend. I'll never forget the text back. It worked. I mean, there's just like, oh my gosh. And nothing's more powerful when you can hand that baton. Remember, network marketing is about duplication, handing the baton down, but only because we practiced it, right? You think of all the times you've been to a training, aside from David Wood's University in Action, you don't get to practice. We set you free with the intention that you're going to go home and practice, but you don't, right? None of us do. So this is all about practicing it. Make the language your own. But again, if you can't go and hand your business to somebody like this, you don't have a duplicatable business. And this is what we're all searching for. I know there's leaders out there who are exhausted because they're the only ones doing the calls. They're the only ones doing they're the only ones. And I'm like, stop feeling so bloody important. Because here's the bottom line is that I look at these people and I go, you are trying to be so unique. And there's a word that goes with unique. It's called antique. If you keep being unique in your business will become antique over the years. If you can't go here, let's practice, you're going to become antique. Oh, that was a heavy one. Sorry.
Question?
Yes, sir.
On the form, so you print the form out and then email it as a PDF file, or do you have some kind of a snazzy fill in the form kind of email?
So real quick, share. So the personal analysis gets emailed no matter what. They fill it, and inside, and this is the instructions you have to tell them, inside the PDF, you have to get them to click this little mail icon, and then they can mail it back to me. So I always give them the instructions. You'll see within the form itself, there'll be a little mail icon on the back. Just email it back to me. The enrollment, I say I'm the expert on the call. I have this right here in front of me, and I'm writing the answers in only for the goals in here, because for me, I have Youngheimers, so I forget. But the important part is that JoJo is at home. She's the connector of the three-way call. And as I'm asking the questions, she's writing in the answers, because really these are for JoJo, right? So she can either do this as a, on her computer. She can just fill it in like I showed you, because this is a fillable form. Or if JoJo wants a hard copy, she can print it and write it. So we make it both ways. But the only one that gets emailed, you do not email this. This form you do not email, because you will lose that personal touch. You will lose that connection. You will lose that person hearing things from you that they'll be like, okay, got it. So hopefully that answers that. Thanks, Malcolm. All right, we'll take one more.
What do you think about asking like friends and neighbors, hey, I'm working on my new business. Would you help me practice, and getting that interaction?
How about this? And that's a great question, Denise. What does Jim Coover always say when you want to grow your business? He says, it's time for you to do another system, or it's time for you to get re-engaged with the products, or it's time for you to set your own goals. And so, Denise, I would, just for shits and giggles here, I would create your own 5 goals again. And when you speak to your friends and neighbors, this is what I'm up to over the next 30 days. It would mean the world to me if you can be part of my support team. I tried this before. Yes, I got results, but I never really incorporated a group of people around me that I know would stand for my success. and my son's playing Fortnite. Sorry, so when we give him he gets his 3 hours of school, then he gets his hour there. Then so it's, whatever you got to do at home. All you homeschooling parents, my heart goes to you. But what I would do, Denise, is I would create your own support team. So again, it's a soft. When people right now, when we go and we say, in my business, it's the very first word, especially in the timing that we're in with where the world's at, people aren't, their mindset's not there. But what people are doing right now, more than they've ever done in their entire life, is reaching out and caring and participating and connecting and all these things that we should become masters at. So create the space for them to come into that, and what happens out of it, happens out of it. They're going to be there to watch you on your journey, high-fiving you, supporting you, and then let curiosity. Remember, when do you give someone information?
When they ask
for it. I have got a lot of roadkill in my first 2 years because I puked a lot of stuff on people. So yeah, don't worry, I'm learning from my mistakes bit by bit. All right, Jojo.
So good, Kyle. Thank you. Oh my gosh, so much. Everybody, I don't know if you've watched the thread, but it's, so just so you guys know, if you click on the 3 dots inside the thread, you can save the chat so you guys can have it. So it's because there's key things in there. There's some of the verbiage we typed up in there. So if you want to save that, click on the little 3 dots in the chat where it says more, and then you can save the chat. You guys see that?
Cool.
Cool. And
I got to learn something.
huh? Did we just teach you something? Yay!
Tell me that. I love it.
You can also, so Kyle, so the reason that we did it this way, just so you guys know, is because I asked for the assessment and he said, I want to teach you guys how to use this properly before I just hand it over. And so he's empowered us all by teaching us today. So thank you very much for agreeing to do this. And he is going to send me the forms and I will get everything posted up and a copy of the video. We Facebooked it live into the business group, so it's there, but you won't be able to share it out of there. So I'll upload the video and get it to you guys. So everybody, thank yous to Kyle. Big kisses. Mwah. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you guys so much.
Valuable information. Thank you, Kyle.
Enjoy your day. Take good care. And till next time, we say.
Till next time.
Bye now.
Take care. Love to Meg.
Cheers.